Hello, good afternoon. Thank you very much, dear Mark. It was really very nice of you of inviting me. It's a great pleasure opportunity. I'm first time joining an event of ICD. I'm really amazed of so many young people, first of all, being here and really of being able of making some topics which are rather technical with some nice cultural diplomacy type of and styling of presenting those. Maybe after this very nice and motivating presentation by the previous speaker, it will be not an easy for me. It will be not an easy job to continue with a more technocratic presentation. But maybe I will start looking back to some of the comments made by him and by Maria, because Maria now is famous in our auditoria. I do believe, as he said, that now in this active, dynamic society, all young people should be given a chance not only to go to university, bachelor, master degree, but simultaneously to do the job. And this is, I'm so confident because this is my experience. From the long story for which I'm grateful to Mark having the patience to read for you. This is really a good example of myself because I started my bachelor degree and simultaneously I starting my working experience. That's why at this age of 36, I have already, I think, passed first all steps in the civil service, starting from junior expert, senior expert, head of department, up to the higher bureaucratic, let's say, position in the country. And then in 2009, I was invited to join political position already as a deputy minister of regional development, in charge of course, something in an area which I was really familiar with, and this was the management of the EU funds. And I think this way, and this is an approach which should be given, first of all, chance to young people to be promoted at an early age of their working experience. On the other side, to have more practitioners, more experts working in politics, because I think this does help. This provides to have a different view and to become more, let's say, pragmatic, more practical in doing things. And I think this is a good opportunity, and it provides a good example. I hope so. Today, I will try to shorten my presentation about what is the sustainable growth and what is the Bulgarian experience. And maybe I will start only with a few key facts of Bulgaria. I guess most of you are aware, but maybe not. We are a rather small country, or medium-sized, of 7 million people, and with the capital of Sofia. And we joined the European Union 2007, which is we were one of the last countries joined the European Union, and NATO in 2004. Being a parliamentary republic, now I represent the parliament, member of parliament, and again, working on regional development, not only internally, but externally. We recently had governmental elections in May last year. And since then, we have a very unstable political situation, unfortunately, in our state. Unstable because this government was formed in a very compromising coalition from parties which are sometimes completely contradictory to each other. I'm representing the biggest opposition party in the parliament. We won the elections from the point of view of figures, but not enough to form our own government and to have second mandate. That's why we are in opposition. The situation in our country is that since the beginning of this government, for those more than 9 months, we have 9 months of protests, and they are continuing. And we see no one, as of today, opportunity those protests to stop. So that's why we expect, and these are the analyses shown, that we expect early elections to happen either by the end of this year or next year, because the situation is really unstable. However, I will base the starting point of my presentation about the stability which we had, about some economic factors which are still kept from the point of view of theoretical outcomes or theoretical points which we need to have in the country in order to continue to be a stable country, providing good opportunities for investment and for economic growth. And however, the conclusion, and maybe I will start with the conclusion, is even though we have economic factors and for growth available, still existing in the country, just because we are totally politically unstable, with unstable government, it doesn't help. And I will show you in figures why. Maybe first of all, a few words more about the country. We as a country are located really on a crossroad between Europe and Asia, which provides really strategic location for us. That's why we are the only country out of all EU countries through which we have 5 of the European transport network corridors going through. This is an excellent opportunity for us to develop as a crossroad country. Economic development. We experienced really rapid economic development over the last years with a very strong fiscal performance, which we had up to the end of 2012. Even in 2013, we continued to have a stable fiscal policy. If you see the picture of the GDP growth, it is very uneven. And one of the factors for this is, unfortunately, we continue to be the poorest region in Europe. And following the lights of crossing lights on the streets, in red color, you see the less developed regions in our country, which is divided in 28 like this. In yellow color, you see the average, more or less, development of the regions. And in green, we have very well-developed regions in the country. Of course, the capital, the biggest port on the Black Sea, Varna, which is totally on the right side. And in the middle, one of the biggest cities in the country. What are our advantages of our economy, which still we do have them, as I mentioned, with the exception of only one, the government stability. Still, we are glad and famous for that. We have flat rate taxes, low taxes, flat rate, 10% corporate income tax, and personal income tax for all, which is really an advantage for us and provides a good opportunity for investors and for the external as well, to establish businesses and some good incentives for those who are willing to work for this. Labor, we have skilled labor. We have really lowest labor costs per hour, which is sometimes not really an advantage for those who work in the country, but on the other side, it is normal for our part of Europe. We have really working hard. We've been working hard for the development of the infrastructure which supports the economic development. Here I would like to open one bracket, because during the mandate, which I was Minister of Regional Development, we as a government, we focused a lot on development of the infrastructure. We focused a lot on development of motorways, roads, railway lines, metro development. And we were so much blamed by the opposition at that time, now the governing party, that we are investing too much in infrastructure instead of increasing pensions, instead of providing social payments to people. And the saying they were using was, no one eats asphalt. Okay, but asphalt provides opportunity for goods to be transferred, for people to travel. And one example, which I can show you proving that I think still development of the infrastructure is a very important point if we want to have economic development, is that because we were able, I will come back a little bit just to show you the map of the country, to see the motorway. So this is the capital. Unfortunately, we don't have this here, but in the Sofia, the capital Sofia, we see here where is the crossing. And going up to the Black Sea, which is our east part of the country, there was no motorway. And it really took time for people to travel, to go to the coastline, to beautiful beaches, maybe not like Seychelles, but beautiful ones as well, and for goods, for services to travel. Once the motorway was completed and linking the capital, the international airport, down to the port of Burgas, to the city of Burgas, and to the Black Sea coast, we had tripled the size and the number of tourists, of businesses, we extended the period and the term of the summer. Before it was June, July, and August. Now it starts in early May and ends up in October. And really, we increased the GDP of the region just because we provided a good infrastructure. This was just one example to show that all the components in order providing for economic growth are necessary. We could not just continue, let's say, looking on dividing us. We need to have everything in one package. If it is not all together, all the factors to provide economic growth, then we won't be successful. Because now what we see, the new government, because there are protests, 240 days, they are unstable. What they tried to do, they increased pensions with €3, what they increased them. They increased some salaries, the minimum salary. They provide a lot of social payments. But still, the public debt was increased significantly in order to provide more payments. This doesn't stimulate, and this absolutely didn't increase neither the consumption nor the investment. What happened? Still, we have a significant increase of the unemployment. So that once again proves that we need economy to be developed in a very, let's say, clever and wise way. We cannot just say we will not build infrastructure, we will give social incentives. They don't help to economy, to work, to invest, to provide jobs. This doesn't help at all. As I mentioned, we up to 2012 we had excellent macroeconomic indicators. In the GDP growth, inflation, unemployment, of course, unfortunately, it was raising. And if we look in the financial indicators for the region, average government debt against the average budget deficit, we were among the countries like Luxembourg, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and Norway, really in the best, let's say, the best performance area of this. However, unemployment is high, and still there is a problem in the economy to produce, really, to have good growth. This is just an example of the budget deficit. We have budget deficit, the red dot line, if we compare to the other countries, to all countries, and you would see that we have one of the best performing from the point of view of the budget deficit. Now, the budget deficit was increased, but it doesn't help a lot to economy to move and to economy to produce more value added, unfortunately. And just because it is an unstable political situation, which is not attractive for foreign investment, which is not attractive for people to withdraw their funds from the bank, and we have increasing amounts of funds in the banks. Just people are afraid to spend them. Investors, local investors, are not widening their businesses, and they're just waiting of what will happen, when we will have for the election, who and how will manage the country. This is really crucial. It really becomes crucial. Otherwise, we have really well-educated and skilled workforce, I might say. We have almost 60,000 students graduating every year from 50 universities in our country. We are famous to have so many universities. Even often we are blamed that we have too many of them. I'm not sure where maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle, but I believe that the quality of the students is more important than the number of universities. And we have one of the highest proportions of students abroad. If we compare it to the other European countries, which is an interesting statistic as well, because All those students, unfortunately, they don't come back for the moment. They really stay in the countries where they study or moving. In Europe, I'm glad that we have Bulgarian students and internships here in ICD as well. But I do believe that you will come back sometime to Bulgaria, and everything you learned here, it will be done in Bulgaria, because this is in what I really believe, and I always share when I visit universities for lectures or something, meeting young people. We need to stay in our countries, because it's easy to live. It's easy to live when it is hard, but we need to stay there exactly when it is hard for the country, to stay and to try to change it. Otherwise, who will do something? Who will try to make the change? We need to do it, and that's why I really believe in this. I will not stand so much on the analysis of the socioeconomic development, because I think I've already mentioned a lot of it. We did very detailed socioeconomic analysis. We did it for the purposes of all European Union funding, which is to be allocated in our country for this period, 2014-2020, in order to analyze in which sectors we need to invest more, in which sectors we need to put more efforts. I will not talk about the real situation, but just in the summary of the analysis. We have a great potential. And I think our motto should be, Bulgaria has a potential, but it is unlocked potential. If we unlock the potential, we can really develop. And I think it's equal for all countries who are suffering from the crisis. The targets of EU 2020 are clear: smart, sustainable, inclusive growth. We have excellent potential of young, well-educated people. We have a potential to be energy efficient, even though we are not. We are on the last place in these statistics. We are the most energy not efficient country, unfortunately, as a statistic, but it again provides enormous potential for this. We have potential in R&D innovation, and it's almost close to zero as of today. And of course, we need really to develop, let's say, incentives and to promote those sectors which are providing value added to sustainable growth and to the development of the country. I will not provide those. I will try to show them just briefly on this map. So European Union priorities are clear. Bulgarian priorities, in order to address those, in order to have the intelligent, sustainable and inclusive growth, the first thing, and I believe that this is the best solution, is education and training. Only education and training will provide and give an option for the poverty reduction, for the development of agricultural innovation, any sector which we need to develop in order really to be able to have by 2020 real significant growth which could be felt and which could provide better way of living. These are our strategic priorities. We will focus on them, and we will invest 8 billion euro from the European cohesion policy and another 8 billion euro from the agricultural policy in this. Something in addition very specific for our country, but not only for many countries in Europe. We are very centralized as a country, and unfortunately population of the country is moving towards the biggest cities. We have 7 big cities, and all the population is migrating to those cities. So that's why we had to work and to think on how this tendency of migrating to big cities really to be stopped. We will hardly be able to do that these people are going back to small villages, to small towns, but at least to stop the tendency. That's why we have chosen so-called moderate polycentrism model in order to provide this, meaning that we will invest not only in biggest cities, but we have selected in each of our regions, cities, measures following the advantages of the certain region in order this region to be further developed and in order not to have white spots on the map. This is the most important. Otherwise, we will have quite big white spot, quite big depopulated area in the country, and which is dangerous. A few words about our regions, as I already said, because there is good strengths of our regions. We have stability from economic point of view, not from political point of view. We have evenly developed network of cities, small and medium and large cities all over the country. We have really rich cultural, natural heritage. As I already mentioned, vast number of higher education and professional institutions in universities, excellent farmland, suitable for very good ecological, bio, and agricultural, clean agricultural crops production, and as I already mentioned, very good transport networks. Weaknesses and threats, there are plenty of them. As I mentioned, white spots, strongly lagging behind regions, and very, very, very serious tendency of demographic slowdown, unfavorable demographic characteristics, and a lot needs to be done there. And because we are on the topic of tourism, I will finish by saying that our regions have really excellent advantages, especially from the point of view of tourism, and we are famous for this. I don't know whether you are aware, but we have more than 600 natural mineral springs around the country with average temperature of 70-75 degrees. The warmest one is 103 degrees. And it's following the analysis of those waters. They are different of time. They are, of course, different type and kind, and they provide very good opportunity for medical treatments for more than 200 diseases. Maybe after the excellent honeymoon in Seychelles, which everyone was invited to go for, after all the holidays, we will be able to invite all of you to visit our country, because we have excellent combination of cultural heritage on one side. We have mineral water for spa and for medical treatments on the other side. Excellent natural beauty and combination of ski and spa and Black Sea coast. Even we have on some places, Spain effect of, like it was said, with a lot of concrete, a lot of beton there. But we have still very, very nice, unique places, well preserved for excellent tourism. And as I mentioned, we have really increased our tourism. If we look in the figures show that we have almost 5% increase for 1 year in tourism of the international tourists visiting our country. And this, of course, provided and gave us an opportunity to increase the GDP in this area. So you're more than welcome to see UNESCO list. We have 9 cultural sites of part of UNESCO, and we have excellent and mountain and Roswell for women in this hall. We are famous of having very special Valley of Roses, and this Bulgarian Roswell is one of the main ingredients used in very high quality perfumes all over the world, and this is for what we are famous with. So this is another very interesting thing to found and to explore in our country. And I really do believe that you will be able, and there is a lot to be explored in Bulgaria. In conclusion, because the conclusion which I have already started, we need to have stable economies, but we cannot rely only on statistical or theoretical points and theoretical theses which are used to say, in order to have economic growth, you need to do this and that. Okay, we've done this. We continue having stability. We continue having very strict following the criteria for deficit, low taxes, good incentives for investors, but we need something else. First, we need stability, political stability of the government, and second, we need to be well promoted, well known all over the world. And that's why I thank you very much for this opportunity, because I think forums like this provide an opportunity that someone could know more about the country, and of course giving the chance for a lot of you to come and hopefully to have an event in Bulgaria as well, so we can not only in words and pictures but lively show you what are the advantages of Bulgaria. Thank you very much.
Member of Parliament Pavlova, thank you very, very much. That's excellent. And I can actually testify I've been to Bulgaria, so it's true, everything you're saying. Very, very good experience in Sofia. What I'd like to do now is take some questions and comments for Member of Parliament Pavlova. Here in the front, we have the first hand. If a colleague could assist, do you have a microphone? Excellent. If you could come to the front. Ladies first, and then we'll continue.
Good evening, and thank you for your lecture. My name is Iulia Popescu, and I'm coming from Bucharest, Romania, your Nordic neighbor. And I would like to ask you about how is Bulgaria prepared now to face the new European financial perspective concerning the structural funds? Because I know that as Romania had experienced a bad, low percentage of absorption from the European structural funds, how are you now prepared for the new financial perspective? And you have already in place some operational programs through which you are prepared to attract European monies in order to contribute to the development of the country. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, this topic of EU funds is important for countries like ours, where we rely a lot, especially in a situation of crisis. European funding is one of the main, let's say, funding which is provided for the construction and for the development of the country, not so much from the state budget rather than relying on EU funds, which should not be the case, to be honest, but this is the reality. Ending up the 2007-2014 financial package and programming period of European Union funding, we are glad to say that we didn't lose as much as it was predicted by someone. On the other side, we still have a lot of lessons learned, because we started as a newly acceded member state with not well-prepared programs, not well-prepared projects, and with no capacity on regional level to implement those projects. That's why we delayed the first 2 up to 3 years of implementation. Then it was enhanced, but still not enough. That's why we decided, and we have started already in 2011, and as of 2012, we had already for example, draft of the operational program for regional development, which is a good step forward. As of today, we have drafted all operational programs. A very good decision which was taken was not to change something which is working quite well. This means that we will keep completely the same system and structure for management of those funds, which provides another good benefit that we will be able to switch to the new funding more or less quickly. However, still we face that, and we see the situation that 2014 will be kind of a zero year for real absorption, because still negotiations are ongoing. The Council regulations were adopted only late November last year. Still negotiations are ongoing, and they will be not completed until autumn this year. I mean, negotiation and approval of the different operational programs, meaning that no real projects will be there to start, and this is quite a problem, I should say. Otherwise, I think that now we have many lessons which were learned. Now we have predefined project, predefined beneficiaries. Already we invested in some project preparation, in some technical projects to be prepared, which give us a good starting point. Fortunately, we are losing this year, and I hope 2015 is not lost, because it should be very carefully planned, and let's see. Again, it depends on the government to follow the steps and not really to politicize the situation, and to be very expert-oriented when we talk about EU funding. It's not about policy and working here or there, or this party or another party. European Union funding should be allocated, used, and managed in a very, let's say, straightforward way. And this is, I believe, still is kept in our country, for which I'm grateful. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe one more question from the back in the formal context, and then the rest we can continue during the Djibouti events later this evening. I don't want to keep Mr. Kaufman waiting, but please, one final question from the back. And if you could introduce yourself as well.
Yeah. Yep. Здравейте, Mrs. Pavlova. Thank you for the presentation. My name is Mats Fritzberger, a council member of the Danish United Nations Association. Taking the the political instability into consideration. I find it quite remarkable, the standard of social responsibility that BG has set when it comes to the refugees from the conflict in Syria. However, I am personally concerned about anything that can compromise the stability of Bulgaria and the rather positive development that your lovely nation is in just now. So could you please collaborate a bit elaborate, sorry, a bit on the challenges there? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for these questions. Because of the time, I didn't mention some things about the refugees, not only from Syria, but Ukraine situation is unpleasant, and we are only 500 kilometers away, even though through the Black Sea from Ukraine, and it is really important to pay attention to this. We were very open to have refugees and from Syria and to support them, even though we couldn't provide the best conditions in the beginning. Still we are open. We as a people are open to support those who are really in a bad situation. What we expect now is additional increase of the refugees, not only from Syria but from Ukraine, because there is a very big Bulgarian diaspora there on one side, and on the other side, being so close, of course we expect. We hope a war will never happen there, even though there is quite a significant risk about it. We are prepared and we have started preparation to ensure support to refugees, if any. But this crisis is very dangerous for us as a country from the point of view of, first of all, we are really so much dependent on the energy resources from Russia. Still, we are fully dependent on them. So if a war starts or if the conflict is not solved, this will mean that the gas supply to our country will be blocked, and we will suffer a very serious crisis, which we had in 2009, for example, when we had to switch to really a regime on electricity just because all the gas supplies were blocked. So this is very dangerous for our country, and this is currently we have special group working on a crisis plan in order how to overcome the situation, because it's on one side the refugees, on the other side we will have problem with the gas supply and dependency on energy sources. And last but not least, from economic point of view, it will additionally endanger the situation. And that's why you're right, we are open, we are working on this, but I think we should not underestimate the problems and the dangerous effect which might have to our country, and I hope it will be seen as such.